Creative Moments by G Facebook Live. We're getting things set up just a little bit. Oh, just waiting for some people to hop on and waiting for Facebook to hop on too. How is everybody doing? Today is Friday, June 4th, 2020. And if you are joining us for the Facebook Live, we would love for you to chat with us as we craft. And if you are joining us on the rebroadcast, please go ahead and leave your comments because we look at all the comments and just enjoy reading them so much. You know, we share inspiration 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Monday, we have a video. And Wednesday, we go YouTube Live. And Friday, we have either Facebook Friday Live or we just do a video. We just appreciate you so much supporting our channel by subscribing, sharing, liking. Just thank you so much. Well, you know, today we are using the new, oh my goodness, wait for it, jar of flowers, right? And you might wonder why this has a little green dot on it. Well, you know, we organize our design studio in such a way that we put any stamp set that has a punch, we put a green dot on it. If it has a die set, we put a yellow dot on it. That really helps us because we don't keep them together. And that way when we pull them out, we know, oh, better go pick up the punch, right? Got to pick up the punch. And so that's what we're going to be working with today. But you know what? Let's head down to the crafting table and let's go ahead and get this live started, right? So here we go. You know how I always like to start with a saying, right? Well, here's our saying for the day. Create your own sunshine. And you know what I say? Sprinkle it along the way, right? So create your own sunshine. We hope we can create some sunshine for you today and then pass it forward, right? Let's share it today. It's Friday. Now, you know the jar of flowers, it is in the new catalog. And let's look at that for just a moment. It is on page 12 and you can see all the wonderful stamps that you get, right? And you know what I like about these jars, if you don't have yours yet, it's reversible, but you use the same stamp. And we're gonna review that in just a moment. But look at this. And then also, is this the cutest little guy? You can do a shaker card, and you can buy this little plastic bubble that goes over it that looks just like a jar. I mean, so darn cute, right? Well, if you buy any of the supplies from us, if you spend at least $50, please use that host code, and we're also going to send you a free gift just for being one of our Sunflower customers. Well, you know what I want to do? I want to show you just a little bit of what this wonderful stamp set does. So let's look at that. Here's the jar, right? And I want to show you, we're just going to pick up some memento. And we are going to stamp it on a piece of paper. Here we go. And then I'm going to just clean that off very quickly because I want to show you how cool this is. Now, look at this. Now what I'm going to do is I am flipping it over, right? And I'm going to pick up Coastal Cabana. And I am just going to dab it over the very bottom, just very lightly over the bottom. And then I'm going to re-stamp it right over the top. And let's see what that looks like. Now, that may be a little dark. You don't have to do it quite that dark. Let's see what happens if we do a second generation. Oh, that's much lighter. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and clean that off. And I'm going to flip it again, right? And now I'm going to use my memento. And we're going to stamp right over that so we can see what it looks like. Looks a little better, right? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And then all you have to do is use your punch and punch it out. Now we have another technique that we want to show you before we get busy with our card. This is a great tip. Take your designer series paper, anything that you want, right? And then you're just going to stamp your beautiful jar on it. Just like that. And there we have it. And you're like, okay, looks kind of good. Well, remember, I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to flip it. And now very lightly, and you don't even have to do this, right? But very lightly, I'm just going to put a little bit of the Coastal Cabana, stamp it off, and then stamp it again. And oh, it just looks so pretty. And then I'm going to cut it out. So let's go ahead and use our punch. Turn it upside down and get it exactly where you want it. And then punch it out. And look at these. Aren't they cute? Oh my goodness. So cute. We're going to put them to the side. Now, let me show you one of the cards that we made with this. Look at this one. This is a tile card. You see how we made tiles? We actually stamped it first, painted it, and then we cut it out and then set it up on dimensionals. Isn't that cute? And then we cut out our little sunflowers and set them up on dimensionals. And then we just put, you're just so fabulous. Thanks a bunch. You're just so fabulous. Isn't that pretty? We have another one to show you after we make our card for the day. But let's go ahead and do that. So we are making a very subtle, elegant card today. So you'll need to take an A2, just a regular A2, which is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4, and then go ahead and cut a mat for the front. Because we want ours to be subtle, elegant, we just cut our first mat and we made our mat 5 1/4 by 4. And remember, all our measurements will be listed on our blog at creativemomentsbyg.com, my blog. We hope you go out and check it out. And then look what we did. We ran it through one of our embossing sheets. Can you see that? Isn't that lovely? It's the subtle embossing folder. We just love that. So we're going to put that to the side. So we have this. And what we need to do is go ahead and stamp the little jar that we are going to use. So we are going to flip this over and we are going to use our memento. Now, the reason you use memento is you can use your alcohol markers, right? You can use your alcohol markers and it won't bleed. So that's really important. Now look at that. Isn't that a great stamp? Clean lines, just perfect. Now what we need to do is we're going to go ahead and pick the flower that we want to use. And we want to use this one. It kind of has some roses. And the reason I'm going to use that one is because I like to do a lot of blending. I like to use my blends. I don't know why, but it's kind of like adult coloring for me, right? Very relaxing. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that. Oh, look at that. So pretty. Now, I'm going to come back in on this jar, and I'm going to stamp the sticks, right? And so the sticks are, I'm going to go ahead and do them in green because that's what it looks like I have. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and do them in green because they've had a lot of water, and they're green. And, you know, it has a very definite top and bottom, right? So the trick on this one is that you need to put this right up at the top, the lip of the jar, right? So we are going to make sure it's right there. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side. Now, I need a green blending tool, right? So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to use Granny Apple Green Dark. And I'm going to use the pointed coloring of it, right? Because if you use the blending one, it'll be too big. So I'm just going to go ahead and color those very lightly. And you know what? I'm going to put a very faint water line on there using that Coastal Cabana, but I'm going to really lighten it up. Okay, so there's our stems. Oh, I need a little bit right down there. Okay, now, like you learned before, right? When you use the blue, you really have to go light. So we're going to switch that. I'm going to actually stamp it, and then I'm going to stamp off, just because I don't want it too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp off. Make sure that would have been good. Okay. I don't want to mess this up, right? Just going to stamp over and go. Hold it down, but not very heavy. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the punch and punch it out. And you know, this card that we're creating, it really is, so, I think, very elegant. We're keeping everything white, and it just looks elegant. So we're going to go ahead and put that to the side. Now we're going to use some blends, and we're going to blend our flowers. So I'm going to pick some dark, and I'm going to go over just this part right here, because we're going to be blending it, right? So right in the middle, I'm just going to make it a little dark. And then we'll come back in with the lighter one. Now, you know, a lot of people do it different ways. Some people do light all over and saturate it, and then they come back in and they go with the dark. I like to always go with the dark and then saturate it with the light, and I can always come back in with the dark just a little bit. But I do love to use my blends. I do love that. And I'm just going to put a little bit right there. Okay, so those are my flowers that I want. Now I'm going to come back in with this one and just go over just a little bit. Now this is a little, oh, look at that color already popping. So we're just going to come in with that. Oh, such a pretty color. And that color was, I believe, a light poppy parade, the darker color that we used. So we're just going to come in, and when we have big spaces like that, I like to go ahead and use the blending in, because I can really move quickly and get it all blended. Doesn't take a long time. You know, we can see so many possibilities with this one, right? Oh my goodness, we really like this stamp set. And we placed our order, and so we're waiting for another stamp set to come in. Of course, we'll create a live with that one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just saturate my card and try to get it to where that line, can't really see the line. And let's see, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit lighter one. So we just keep going over it until that dissolves just a little bit. And realize these are alcohol markers, and so you do have to let them evaporate just a little bit. Now I'm going to come in with even a lighter one right here on the tips. Okay, so we have that one. Now I think on these, I want them to be not quite as dark as the middle part. So I'm just going to come in with this color, and this one is Light Pumpkin Pie. So we're just going to color these. And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I think we have all the flowers. Now I do want to come in and just give us a little bit of depth right here. Just a little bit of shadow. I think it looks better. And then we have our shadow, so I'm going to come back in and just go over to blend it. And then we'll move on to our leaves. Now, did you watch our video last week on Forever Ferns? I know some of you did, because we saw your comments and we appreciate those. Boy, do we love the ferns, right? And so the leaves on this, we're going to go ahead and just color. It kind of looks like watercolor. This is, I'm sure, Granny Apple Light. And it just looks like watercolor. Okay, you know what I think? I think I need kind of a brownish color for that. And I'm just going to color those in with crumb cake. I think that would be very pretty. Okay. You can, of course, use any color you want. But to me, this kind of looks like baby's breath, right? When you have a flower arrangement. And that, of course, looks like eucalyptus. So I'm going to do it a little bit darker. Yes. Okay. This is what we have right now. Now, I'm going to be doing some other things, and we're going to cut this out very quickly. What we need to do is take our card, and we're going to go ahead and lay down this embossed sheet right on the top. I'm going to move that out of the way. We don't want to get it dirty, so one thing you need to make sure you do when you're working with your white cards is that you have your hands clean, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use my Kalel. I really like Kalel as my wet glue. And, okay, then we're just going to lay it down. And you know what? You really can't see it all that well, but you can tell there's something there. It's kind of like what it's called, right? The subtle. It's subtle. But it really makes an elegant card. So we're going to go ahead and push that down. Make sure that we have that. Now, because this is a white card, we really don't have to put anything in here. We're going to go ahead and just stamp our inside message. And I had that message right here. On the front, we're going to have Happy Days. The Happy Days is from a friend like you. We're going to use Happy Days, and here's to celebrating you. So we're just going to get our memento. And I think you're really going to like the way this turns out. I'm going to make sure I stamp it off. I really like that font, you know. It's a small font, but I think it really is nice. We're just going to hold it for good contact. And there we have it. Now, here's our jar, and here's our flower. And then we went ahead and we used the Forever Ferns, and we cut these ferns out. Now, we used the new in color, Cinnamon, and then Poppy Parade, and Petal Pink, and we have our ferns now. And so we need to position our jar. Oh, look at that. Is that not beautiful? Now, this is about where we want to position them, but we need to bring it in just a little bit so that we don't go over. I'm still working on it. So it's best to always get it exactly where you want it. Let's see if that's good. And then there we have it. This is a great tip. What I do when I have a large fern like that, now, you know, I think I'm going to put it like that so it gets over that little love mark, right? Take a piece of tape and go ahead. We have it exactly where we want it now. So I'm going to just put this piece of tape because the jar is going to go over it, right? That way we have it exactly where we want it. And just press it down and we can just pick it up. We like that. Because what we need to do is now just put some glue on it. And I'm going to go ahead and use our multi-purpose glue. And we're just going to put it on the backs. Just little dots everywhere. Now, we like to keep some of our ferns up, so we don't put glue everywhere, but we just put some on the backs. And then we have this tape is holding it for us. That is a great tip because when you have things like this, it's hard to get them in the right position when you turn it over, right? So now we're going to put this here. So we need it about right there. I'm going to move it up just a little bit. There we go. And we can always, like this little part, I'm just going to snip him off, right? Now on this, we are going to set him up on dimensionals. I'm going to put some dimensionals. And then we are ready to put on our flowers. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to put one here. I'm not going to go too high just in case I want some of those flowers to go behind this jar and some to go in the front. We're going to take him and put him right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take the flowers that we created and look at these. I can actually, if I want to, put that a little bit, oh, I think I'm going to do that. Put that a little bit behind, and I'm going to set this up on dimensionals as well. We don't want to get too close to the bottom because once again, we're going to put a little bit of it behind, right? So I think that would do it. Now, let's just see. This is such a cute jar. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Let me move everything out of the way. Look at this. What do you think? Do you like this? Doesn't that embossing folder just makes it very elegant? Well, let's go ahead and get this snipped off right at the line of the card so that we can make sure it fits in the card holder, the envelope, right? And then you open it up, and here's to celebrating you. Now, what we went ahead and did is we used one of our punches. Do you have this, the lovely label? You know why I like this? Because it can be as long as you want it, and it has different sizes that you can use. So we cut the size, and remember all the dimensions will be listed below on our My Blog. All you have to do is access it through creativemomentsbyg.com. And we made a double layer because we're going to put it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the top one down, but then I'm going to set the other one up on dimensionals, right? So we're going to make sure we don't get anything on our table. We're going to give ourselves a border. And there we go. Move it around just a little bit. Perfect. Now we're going to set it up on dimensionals and get it on, and let me know what you think. And because we already have the jar raised, we're not going to put one in the middle because it's already raised, right? So here we go, right, like that. And what do you think? Do you like this? Doesn't take long at all because you can just cut these ferns out, do a little blending, and here's to celebrating you. So here's the card that we made right now with you. Here's the card that I showed you earlier, right? It's called our tile card. And then we have this other lovely one. Now look at this. Here's our jar, put thanks a bunch. And on this we use the brick embossing folder. And we cut out the flowers and use the ferns again. Well, listen, crafting friends, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. We hope that you were inspired. We would love a thumbs up. Be safe, be healthy, be creative in your crafting, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.